This is how we took $50 and turned it into a 7-figure business.
7-figure a year business.
7-figure a year business. Big difference.
That's the one. Big difference.
Big difference. So, remember to look here and say that at the camera. That's something I always miss. It all started back in 2015. Let me paint a picture. Living in Sweden, Gävle, right? Just on the border of northern Sweden. I was studying for my MBA. I'd previously gotten laid off from my oil and gas job here in Calgary, and it was then that I decided to move to Sweden, do my MBA, and really find something that I could really sink my teeth into. Now, not having a ton of money, not having a ton of experience, and I was a student living abroad, so I wanted to create something that I could sink my teeth into that represented my values and something I could grow and have some fun with and apply all the stuff I was learning at an MBA program. And I was really drawn to clothing in particular, because clothing, I felt, was a great representation of our individual values. How we choose to dress ourselves is either a conscious or subconscious decision of how we want to be perceived in this world. And those outwardly shared values can be used to connect us with others who share those similar values. So I did what anyone who wants to do something that doesn't know how to do it.
Any idiot,
any millennial, anyone really, what they would do when they don't know how to do something. I Google searched how to make a t-shirt company. And from there, I watched a YouTube video that Shopify had. It was from there that taught me a step-by-step guide on how to start a t-shirt company, from utilizing the drop shipping method, from the design to the production, to the fulfillment, to the payment processor. The only thing I paid for was a couple of designs and a Shopify account. And it amounted to about $50 just to get started. Fast forward to today, that was about 6-7 years ago. We're at well over $1 million in annual revenue. And we've only ever since then put about $1,000 each into the business.
Yeah, and that didn't come for at least a year, right? We used the print-on-demand model for at least a year just to test the concept. I had a fascinating call last week with a guy who wanted to start a t-shirt company. And my advice to him was absolutely utilize print-on-demand to get started, because you never know who is going to buy into your concept, who is going to buy into your idea. And I know we're really scared to give away our ideas, but ideas are a dime a dozen. Everyone has ideas. It all comes down to execution and action, and that is who will win. The person who can execute and action the best. You can have 1 million people with the same idea, but one person will come out as the winner, and that's the person who can take that idea and really take it to the next level. They can take their own spin and they can make it successful. So yes, there's the risk that you're putting your designs out there, you're not investing in your own cut and sew, your own quality. It doesn't really matter, right? If you can have the ability to test with no upfront capital and really not spending a lot of money, do it, test it. And that's what we did. We used print on demand.
And what it allowed us to do was because when we first started, it was Calgary community shirts. I thought that was going to be the big ticket out of there, was different designs of different Calgary community t-shirts. So we had a ton of different designs, ton of different colors, styles, you name it. And it turns out that nobody actually wanted, our small selection of people actually wanted community shirts here in Calgary. What really took off was we decided to put the YYC design, one that we're very well known for.
No, we don't.
Oh, right there.
Yes, we do.
This design right here, this is what we're most well known for. We decided to put this up on the website just on a whim for funsies. And that was the one that took off. And what's really interesting is it wasn't even t-shirts that we were selling a ton of. It was crew neck sweaters. We only put up crew neck sweaters because we both just wanted crew neck sweaters. And it wasn't even our sizes. We thought we sell unisex clothing. It'd be 50-50 even split between men and women who buy our stuff. But it was majority of women that were buying our YYC crew necks. So a couple months later, when it came time to invest in some inventory, we knew exactly where to put our money into. YYC crew necks in 1 or 2 colors and bulk up on the smalls and mediums, right? And because if we had invested all that money in inventory at the beginning, we would still be sitting on Calgary community t-shirts that we couldn't give away today, right? So that was the beauty of utilizing dropshipping. And that's what we say to everyone, just get started. You don't know what the market's going to want. You don't know if you have a good idea or not until the market tells you you have a good idea. The market told me Calgary community shirts, horrible idea. But the market says this YYC thing, you might be onto something.
Now, let's talk about feedback, right? It's important to get out there and get feedback. It's important to solicit feedback from peers, from friends, from family. But really, what you're looking for is someone that's a potential customer. Because I'll be honest, when Connor first released that design, wow, Twitter had a heyday. There was a few people on Twitter. Now, I've gone back to try and find them. They've since deleted their Twitter, probably because they're an asshole. But the exact words they used was, these designs are worse than dog shit, wrapped in dog shit. So for most people, that could be a deterrent, right? You put something out there, you've created it, you're a little bit worried on how it's going to work, how it's going to look, and someone puts that comment, and of course...
Okay, keep going. Tell them why.
Connor's got a delivery. Oh, someone's in the front door too. We got a delivery coming. But most people would be really deterred by that, right? They'd be really scared, and they wouldn't want to go any further because someone thinks their designs are dog shit wrapped in dog shit. So number one is solicit feedback, but number two is only listen to those whose opinions and truly value. Some random design guy on Twitter is not gonna know really what the rest of the community looks for. So yes, you want to get feedback, you want to get ideas from people, but don't take the criticism too lightly. That's one of the biggest hindrances that we see when you're launching something, is you're scared to put it out there in the world, you're scared to see what people think, and sometimes people will think that it is dog shit wrapped in dog shit, but that's okay. Because that person, we can now laugh at them and say, you could not have been more wrong. And if we had have listened to you and said, oh wow, maybe we shouldn't do this, we wouldn't be where we are today.
We're in a great spot. We're very happy where we are.
We sure are.
Not nearly where we want to be, but we're well on our way. And it's still we only have 3 people. There's me, Dustin, and one person in our warehouse. And we've only ever put in $1,000. After that initial $50, we've only ever put in $1,000. The rest has been entirely customer and community funded. No investors, no long-term debt, no family money, no nothing.
And the $1,000, let's talk about de-risking, right? That's another thing that's kind of scary when you're starting a business, is it's a lot of risk, especially when you're putting up capital. $1,000 to Connor and I at the time, $1,000 from him, $1,000 from me, was a lot of money. We had just graduated from university. Connor had just moved back to Canada from living in Sweden. We didn't have a lot of money, but what we had is confidence that that money was actually going to see a return. And we didn't spend that $1,000 until a retailer actually reached out to us to place an order to carry our product. And so with that $1,000, we used it to buy product that we'd be able to supply to the store, and we knew we'd be getting that money back. So instead of taking the money back, turning a profit, we kept the money in the company, and we used that as growth capital to help us get to those next stages. But since then, every single penny of profit was rolled back into the company to continue with that growth.
I worked full-time for another company, built this on the side for 2 years, not paying myself. Dustin, he worked full-time for 5 years, never taking a single penny out of the business until he was able to go full-time. And so that's really how we were kind of able to grow our company, with no investors, no long-term debt. We didn't want to give up control. We thought we were onto something. We thought we could grow this to a certain point on our own, right? Because unlike most entrepreneurs, we are very risk adverse. Right. And we don't want to lose our shirts. We don't want to put our house on the line and have it affect our families. So we did it in a slow, sustainable way. And I think that's something that a lot of entrepreneurs kind of need to realize, right? It doesn't just happen overnight. Mm-hmm. It's all about compounding interest, the magic and beauty of compounding interest. Little things by little things by little things eventually add up, that momentum behind you.
And that's okay. For a while, I think we were a little bit discouraged, thinking, should we go out and get debt? Should we go raise money? Everyone else is doing it.
Yeah.
But that's the other thing that's really cool about business, about entrepreneurship, is it's malleable, right? You get to create whatever it is that you want. You get to design the model, design the lifestyle that you want. And for us, it didn't make sense to bet the house. It didn't make sense to pile a bunch of cash into a business or not take salaries to invest in a business, because we did have to cash flow the business. We're a retail business, right? We're inventory heavy. We have to have a lot of cash on hand to be able to build our inventory, to be able to build our reserves. And so for a while, there was a bit of a struggle because we felt like things were moving a little bit slower than we wanted to, right? I was still in a full-time job for 5 years. There was a lot of times where I felt like I wasn't truly an entrepreneur because I wasn't full-time being an entrepreneur, but it takes time, and that's okay. Because remember, the only person whose opinion matters when you're building your business is yours.
So that being said, you have a business idea.
And your customers. Your customers' opinion does matter, because they're the ones who are going to tell you how you should improve your product and where you should go next.
Absolutely. So there you have it. If you have a business idea, just get started. Don't worry about business plan. Don't worry about getting investors. Just get out into the market. It doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be. One of the great quotes we got last week was, it's about progress, not perfection, right? And we thoroughly believe in that. So if you want to start a teaching company, you want to start any kind of company, just get out and do it. Just start. Go out there. Don't spend a ton of money. most importantly, have fun. Because if you're not having fun, then what is? All right.
It was great. Terrible, but great.